Evening, everyone. We'll bring November 23rd City Council meeting to order. Motion on tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion made and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Nelson, could you take a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Councilmember Ronning.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance.
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel.
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye. And that motion passes. On the presentations, item 4A, public hearing for setback variance at 20824 Evelyn Street Northeast. Jack. You're on mute, Jack.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Rick Vandermeer is seeking approval of a variance to replace a non-compliant septic system at 20824 Evelyn Street. The variance is required to change the setback regulations needed to approve a replacement system on the lot. The property is 0.49 acres in size, zoned R1, and is located within the Sunnyview subdivision. This property is not within a shoreland overlay district. However, due to the wetland located in the rear of the yard of this property, there is limited area in which a septic system can be placed. If this variance is not granted, the property owner could only continue this property as a residential use with a holding tank for septic collection and disposal. Variances for holding tanks cannot be approved if there is space on the property to install a compliant septic system. With approval, the setback variance is exhibited in attachment 3. This site can accommodate a replacement septic system. Due to the size of the drain field required to meet septic codes, a variance for setbacks from the front property line of the primary structure are necessary for installation of a compliant system. These setbacks are defined in City Code, Chapter 74, Utilities, Section 74-44. An additional variance will be required to be obtained from the Minnesota Department of Health for a setback reduction of 10 feet from 2 deep wells. The well located on this address at 20824 Evelyn Street, as well as the property located at 20834 Evelyn Street. The city does not have jurisdiction over this matter, and the approval of this variance will be contingent upon the approval of the well variance by the Minnesota Department of Health. This variance has been applied for by Lashinsky Services, the proposed septic installer. Consideration of a variance requires the application of a 3-factor test. Test of reasonableness, a test of uniqueness, and a test of alteration of the essential characteristics of the neighborhood. In all 3 of these cases, staff finds that the intent of these tests are met. There will be 2 recommendations tonight for City Council. Number 1, City Council is requested to hold a public hearing regarding setback variance for a septic system replacement at 20824 Evelyn Street Northeast. There were no persons responded to the notification of the public hearing. It was sent out as a requirement of this public hearing request, and the owner is not available for presentation tonight. So at this time, I would request that the City Council open the public hearing for the setback variance for the setback requirements for the septic replacement at 20824 Evelyn Street.
With that, we'll open a public hearing for the setback variance for septic replacement at 20824 Elvis Street. Jack, you mentioned there were no respondents at all wishing to speak tonight.
That's correct.
Seeing none in the meeting here, we will close the public hearing.
Recommendation number 2. On council's review or issues of concern raised as a result of any public comment, and if there are no reasons to consider denial of the variance, staff recommends council approval of resolution 2020-69, a variance to allow a reduction in front and side property line setback requirements for the installation of a septic system on a property located at 20824 Evelyn Street Northeast, East Bethel, Minnesota.
Is there a motion signing this resolution?
I'll make a motion for resolution 2020-69, granting variance for the reduction in setbacks from 10 feet to 0 feet on the front property line and from 20 feet to 10 feet from the primary structure for the installation of a septic system on the property located at 20824 Evelyn Street Northeast, PIN 17 33 23 41 0006.
Second.
Motion made and second. Discussion?
Jack, no neighbors have no issues with this? Because I see something about a deep well or something that's,
Yeah, there have to be a variance that they will have to obtain from the Minnesota Department of Health. However, the septic installer, which is Lashinsky, has applied for that variance. That one still hasn't been granted. It's anticipated it will be approved, but there are no comments or objections from the residents.
okay, thank you.
So this resolution, the last item says it's contingent on approval from the Department of Health, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Is there any other discussion?
Yes, so to finish off that particular line of thought, if this is turned down by the Minnesota Department of Health, will this not have to come back to City Council for the approval of holding tanks and so forth to be put on the property, or will that just go forward through staff?
No, it will have to come back to council for an alternative for the issue. As you can see in the write-up in the letter from Mr. Lashinsky, the current system is not functioning and there is a holding tank there. But in order to approve a holding tank, that variance for the deep well setbacks would have to be denied by the health department.
All right, very well, thanks.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Nelson, could you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye,
Councilmember Ronning,
Aye.
Councilmember Plassance,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel,
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye, and that motion passes. Item 4B, our sheriff's report. Good evening, Shelley.
Good evening. Hope you're all doing well. It's a couple days before Thanksgiving. Here's our report from October. Custodial arrests and significant events. DWI, there were 4 DWI arrests in October. 2 of the arrests stem from passerbys calling in impossible intoxicated drivers. 1 arrest involved a male who was walking away from a vehicle that had sustained damage to the driver's door and mirror that was now stopped on Highway 65. The male claimed to be a passenger in the vehicle, but there was no one around, and the passenger seat was filled with plastic bottles and trash that did not have any indication of being sat on. This occurred at 11:39 p.m. Deputy Cutler saw the male pull onto Highway 65 and then stop the vehicle on the shoulder. Deputy Cutler told the suspect that he had witnessed this, and the male still said he was just a passenger. He could not state who the driver was. The suspect refused to perform field sobriety tests or take a breath test. The final arrest came from a crash where an intoxicated driver rear-ended a vehicle waiting to turn left. The suspect displayed signs of being impaired and failed field sobriety. The suspect claimed the other vehicle had been in the right turn lane, then abruptly changed course and came into the through traffic lane. The unimpaired driver advised he had been stopped, waiting to turn left, and had not been in the right turn lane. The impaired driver was arrested for DWI. 5th degree possession of a controlled substance. Deputy Collar saw a vehicle that he recognized as having stopped a week earlier where the driver was revoked. Deputy Kohler pulled up next to the vehicle and confirmed the driver was the male that he had issued a citation for driving after revocation a week earlier. Deputy Kohler conducted a traffic stop. The driver was not able to produce any proof of insurance for the vehicle. In speaking with the male, Deputy Kohler noticed a small baggie containing a white crystal-like substance. Deputy Kohler did secure the baggie and performed a NIT kit test, which came back positive for methamphetamine. A search was conducted of the vehicle and no further narcotics were found. The male was arrested and transported to jail. Fraud. Deputy Edmond received a phone call from a victim of fraud. The victim reported he had received a call from a male who stated he was with Amazon and Amazon needed to refund the male $300. The victim ended up giving the male his bank account information to refund the money. The suspect then advised they had mistaken mistakenly refunded him $3,000 and they would need the victim to go purchase $2,500 in gift cards. The victim did so and received another call from the suspect and gave him the numbers off the gift cards. After hanging up with the suspect, the victim felt like he had just been scammed and went into his bank account and saw the $3,000 was no longer in his account. The male was going to follow up with his bank to see if the charges could be reversed. He claimed that, or he stated that the suspect's accent was described as not being from the US. Fifth-degree assault. Deputies were called to an assault that had just occurred. Upon arrival, Deputy Olson learned that a male suspect was accused of hitting another male and a female in the face. The victim reported a group had been at a bar and went to a residence afterwards. While at the residence, a group of females began saying derogatory things about each other. The suspect became upset and tried to throw one of the females to the ground. The male victim tried to get the suspect away and he was hit several times in the face. The female victim stated her hair was pulled and the suspect was trying to throw her to the ground. Both victims requested charges be pursued against the suspect. Deputies then went over to the suspect's residence and he denied assaulting anyone. The suspect's girlfriend reported this was a family issue and she would take care of it. She did not want to tell the deputies any further information. The suspect was cited for fifth-degree assaults. All parties were showing signs of intoxication. And then lastly, there's been some coronavirus scams, not necessarily happening in East Bethel, but I just wanted to bring it up for public awareness. I have not seen any reports on coronavirus scams happening in East Bethel, but I have seen stories from other states about this. If you are determined to have been in contact with someone who tests positive for COVID-19, you may get a phone call or text message from the Minnesota Department of Health. They would not be asking you for money or personal financial information. The text would be to alert you that someone will be contacting you from a specific number about the possible exposure. Legitimate callers will be asking you health information. If you are unsure whether this is a legitimate person to talk with, you can contact the Minnesota Department of Health directly. Also, don't click on links to emails that claim urgent response to new approved vaccines. Unfortunately, scammers use whatever is the most current information to try and obtain your money. And given the unknown state of the coronavirus, people are looking for whatever they can get to try and have some immunity to it. So just be aware that it most likely is a scam if you're getting it via email or they want your financial information. That shouldn't happen. And that's all I have for this month.
Okay, great. Any questions from council? I think we're letting you off easy tonight.
You are. I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, whatever that might look like for you this year, and stay safe.
Be safe. Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you.
Next item, Fire Department Monthly Report. Chief DeSharm. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Well, October was a little bit of a busy month for us. We ended up responding to 65 calls. Of those 65 calls, 48 were matter calls. In other words, about 73.5%. During the month, there were also 5 vehicle accidents, but most of them happened on the same day, October 20th, because of a snowstorm, if you remember, and the roads turned horrible. And then there were some minor calls, a couple fire alarms, and just a couple burning calls this past month. Couple things coming up, as Commander Orlando had said. We got Thanksgiving coming up this Thursday, and my warning goes out as far as deep frying your turkeys. It's a great way to cook them, and it works really well, but please do not do them inside a garage or inside a structure. And be careful how you do them. Make sure when you put them in the oil, in the hot oil, that they're not wet and they've been properly prepared. it seems like every year we hear, not necessarily in East Bethel, but across the metro, that somebody burnt down part of their garage or part of their house, deep frying turkeys. I just want to bring up the big news, which is the COVID-19 that we've been hearing about almost daily. Oh, in fact, it is daily. As far as the fire department, we have had some infections within the fire department, but they're quite manageable. Currently, we just have one firefighter that's out. And then we have a couple other firefighters that are in a quarantine situation. It looks like by midweek, almost everybody's going to be back and serve their isolation and quarantine times. Any questions by council?
Mark, on the firefighters that are in quarantine, none of these have because of responses, correct? These are all non-response contacts?
You're absolutely right. None of these are contacts, exposures, or infections that occurred during a fire call. These are other infections and exposures that happened at work, home, family, friends, that type of thing. Not one as of today that we know of has been caused during a fire call. We try to be very careful. We're not foolproof, I can tell you that. But we're trying to be very careful. We limit the number of people in cars, in trucks, and just to try to keep people aside. Currently, we are not doing in-person training. We are doing training over WebEx, much like your council meeting, in Zoom and things like that. And we anticipate doing this for at least the next 60 days.
Okay. Questions for Chief? All right, very good. Well, have a safe holiday break, and let's hope everyone else does too.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Okay, item 4D. Jack, you're on mute.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the fall of 2015, a committee of fire officers was formed by Fire Chief Mark Descharme to review and update the fire department procedures and guidelines. Deputy Chief Arden Anderson chaired this committee, and Rod Snow and Mark Pratcher were the other members on the panel. The committee presented their proposals to the fire chief, who then forwarded them to City Council for approval. On January 20th, 2016, the proposed changes to the fire department procedures and guidelines were presented to City Council. The changes included new procedures and revised guidelines with the red line strike-through of items to be deleted, as presented in Attachment 1. The Reviews Committee report recommended the removal of the language in Section 2.2 that required the maximum age of employment be no more than 65 years old. However, the document that was put on the January 20th, 2016 council agenda was the old document with the age limitation, while the intention was a request that council approve the committee recommendation of no maximum age limit. As a result, the 65 maximum age requirement was approved and remained in the document. To amend this error, the following is proposed to correct the oversight that was previously approved by City Council. Change Section 2.2 employment eligibility from all firefighters shall be at least 18 years of age and not more than 65 years of age to the following. All firefighters shall be at least 18 years of age. This deletes the 65-year-old age requirement. Limits on age for fire department service are the exception rather than the rule for North Metro fire departments. Oak Grove, Linwood, Ham Lake, St. Francis, Forest Lake, Andover, and the Bethel fire departments, along with the Centennial and Isani fire districts, do not have a maximum age or mandatory requirement age. This time, staff recommends council amend Addendum A, East Bethel Fire Department, additional personnel policies and rules, section 2.2, to eliminate the maximum age requirement and read, all firefighters shall be at least 18 years of age as exhibited in attachment 3.
Is there a motion on this? tonight?
Move to make language changes discussed by the city administrator to section 2.2.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Motion made second, discussion.
Is I see the chief's name is still on there. Is he available for a question?
Yes, I am.
Well, it's a rhetorical question, I guess. With all the other departments having eliminated that language, is there any restriction on the police departments, fire departments, as far as age limits on the elderly part?
Well, it's my understanding that there's not a restriction statewide, for example, I think is what you're talking about. So no, there isn't. There is a restriction on the younger part, 18. A person needs to be 18 before, and that's an OSHA regulation. Individual needs to be 18 to do firefighting duties.
I kind of just want to be on the record that we've discussed this, and I'm familiar with a number of these age discrimination, just language cleanup. But we are on the record as discussing this and reviewing what the details are.
Okay, any other discussion?
I have I guess it's a question. Regardless of age, everybody has to meet certain physical standards. Is that correct?
That's correct. We go through what's called a health surveillance every year, which is a physical and a fit test. And although we didn't do it this year because of COVID, we do a physical ability test.
Okay, and they meet all other standards, correct?
Correct.
There's no exceptions to somebody because of an age. That's correct, right?
That's correct. Great.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
See, I got a question for Chris. Chris, I thought there was no age discrimination. Is there something different in the emergency group like that?
Councilmember Harrington and council members, I'm unaware if there's something specific to the fire department. So that's something I would have to get back to you on.
Okay. I just know they can't discriminate against age, so that's why I was wondering if it was different for these guys.
No, absolutely. That's a sort of standard that's universally applied. I just am unaware if there's a specific standard for the fire department.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, any other discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Nelson, can you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Councilmember Roning.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance.
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel.
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye. And that motion passes. On to our consent agenda. Your motion tonight.
I'll make a motion to adopt tonight's consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made second. Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to pull item C, E, F, and G.
All right. Any other discussion? Okay, Mr. Nelson, can you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Councilmember Roning.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance.
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel.
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye. And that motion passes. Suzanne, item C.
Item C, I am wondering why we just automatically approve people on these committees, this one and the planning commission too, and we don't advertise and see if other people with other new ideas are available and interested.
Isn't that item E, not item C?
Oh, whoops, I'm C. I'm sorry. Item C, the council
Meeting.
minutes. Yeah, I had my paper folded wrong. I'm sorry about this. Item C, the minutes. I am concerned. I'm going back to the page 92 when we talked about the that development, the Mundell development. I am wondering, some of the things they talk about, I found out some different information later, like the street width right now. Somebody actually went up there and measured it and called me and said it's 28 feet, not what they said it was, and definitely not the required 31. And it's 28 and some inches, and I didn't write down the inches. The other thing I'm concerned about, I didn't see in there, but this cul-de-sac is supposed to have 6 houses and not 3. And I know they mentioned concerns on there, but I'm not sure, and I need this answered, if it was decided that they were going to redo that or if it's going to stay the 6. And I asked about the good financial standing, and then I watched a little bit of the planning commission, and Jack said that it had to do with closed session, whereas Jack said that they are in good financial standing. So I'm kind of confused with that answer too. And I think we should have had the purchase agreement with us so that, and some of the other information that they talked about at the planning commission. I feel like we didn't have all of the information to include some of the concerns that the planning commission mentioned at the meeting. And that's all I want to say about that, and I'll let Jack respond.
So Suzanne, first though, your questions don't seem to be questioning what's in the minutes. You seem to be asking additional questions about the topic that we discussed at last meeting.
Well, the financial question is in the minutes, plus we didn't have all the information that I feel like to go over that. So, it's kind of in the minutes because we didn't have all the information and it's not in the minutes because we didn't have it.
But are you asking the minutes to be changed somehow?
No, because it's in the minutes, I wanted to bring up this issue, the concerns, because I received 2 phone calls, one regarding the 28 feet and I just wanted to bring this up here, and maybe I should have waited, but I just thought this is a good time to bring it up because it's in the minutes.
I think if you want to discuss the matter again, you can bring it up in the council reports.
Okay, all right, I'll make a motion to approve item C in the consent agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made second, any discussion?
Seconded. Question, yes. At the beginning of your comments, did you say you're recording? Susan?
What did you say?
I thought you said you were recording, something about recording. And that made you confused about something.
Did that I'm recording?
Yes.
I'm recording. No, I don't understand what you're saying. I guess
the question is, are you recording this separately from what the minutes are?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
A simple question. Are you making any kind of recording of this proceeding?
No.
Okay.
I don't even know how to do that. Why would you ask me that?
Well, the minutes will reflect what your comment was when we get them next time. Chris, question for you. when we have discussions about the minutes, we're discussing the minutes as written without any variance. Is that correct?
Councilmember Running and Mayor and council members, with regard to the minutes, it's essentially a review for accuracy and whether a motion to amend the minutes needs to be made to ensure that they're accurate. That's the review of the minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I understood that from the mayor. Sorry, I apologize.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Nelson, can you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Ronning,
Aye.
Councilmember Plassance,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel,
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye, and that motion passes. Suzanne, item E.
Okay, now item E. My concern, I just will repeat my question. Why do we not advertise these positions when they come open? And that includes for the planning commission, instead of just automatically having people come repeat and stay on for over and over and over. I just ask this because I think it would be nice to get fresh and new ideas and on these committees.
Jack, can I say something on that? We have a hard enough time getting people for anything. I think the people we've got on these committees now are good. I don't know why we have to go out and put it out there when nobody wants to sign up for them.
That, Tim, that was one of the concerns. The council did adopt a policy for reappointment to commission vacancies that were held by incumbents. And in order to not put these people through the whole interview process again, they would submit their intent to reapply for their term, which was coming up. And then the commission then would make a recommendation to city council. In a lot of cases, there's been a lot of chemistry, a lot of good background with these people. And that was the reason that we did this, in addition to what you just pointed out, with the fact that we have trouble getting people to serve on these, and this was a way to address that situation.
Okay, and I want to clarify, I'm not against having people on there. I was just wondering why we didn't advertise for it every time, but that makes sense. Thank you. I make a motion to approve item E of the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made, second, discussion. Hearing none, Mr. Nelson, can you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Ronning,
Aye.
Councilmember Plassance,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel,
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye, that motion passes. Suzanne, item F.
All right, item F is about the waste management, the municipal waste abatement grant funding award recycle contract. And I couldn't download the link that was on here. It just didn't work for me. So I have a couple of questions about it. But and what I see on here, it looks good, but I'm just wondering if there are any restrictions on residents that are included in this, or if this is just about getting FEMA funding, because it is 328 pages, it said. And I just want to make sure I'm not voting on something that I don't know 100% about.
I think we skipped again. Isn't that item G, not item F? Item F is the Anoka County Municipal Waste Abatement Grant Funding. Is that not correct?
Yeah, it's a contract. We're joining it.
Because item G is where we have the document for the 325 pages. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something.
Oh, I am wrong again. So I guess item G, I don't have a problem with. Item F, I don't have a problem with. I'll make a motion to approve item F as it is on the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Second,
Motion's made in second. Discussion?
yeah. Just for clarification for anybody that might be confused about this, Jack, this is a requirement by the state? Is that correct?
We are required to participate in the county recycling program.
Is that a statute or is that a policy?
That's mandatory.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
See, I got one for Jack. Jack, have we ever looked into maybe start doing furniture or something like that and mattresses? I'm starting to see more in the ditches along some of the city streets here. You know, they don't take them here, so.
Yeah, that, we have not, Tim, but that's something we can discuss. I think probably some of the issues there are maybe space, but we can certainly look into that.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Nelson, could you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Ronning,
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel,
Hi.
Mayor Voss.
Aye. That motion passes. Item G, Suzanne.
All right, here I go. This one. I wanted to know on this one if there's any restrictions on the cities, on the residents, and if our neighboring cities have signed on to this too. And this is for the multi-jurisdiction all hazard mitigation.
Mr. Mayor, I can answer those questions.
Okay.
Okay, first of all the other cities have adopted this, and I think we're one of the last one or two to take care of this. This is more of a bookkeeping type procedure with the resolution. FEMA would require the resolution to continue certain mitigation financing and grants. The second question, Counselor, that you had, I think was about, you know, does it, maybe I could have you repeat that first question of yours.
Oh, the second part of my question was, are there any, does it bring out any restrictions on residents? Are there any financial burdens to anything in the city regarding it?
No, there's not. Actually, it's the other way. It would be to bring funds into the city should we need it for mitigations on certain hazards.
Okay, and no restrictions on residents if they live on, it doesn't increase insurance costs or anything like that if they live on some kind of lake or?
No, it would not cause any more burden than, you know, what they would normally have.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt item G of the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second,
Motion's made in second. Discussion. Hearing none. Mr. Nelson, can you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Ronning,
aye.
Councilmember Plaisance,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel,
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye. And that motion passes. We have no new business, and on to department reports. Jack.
I'm batting 1,000 on that mute. Item 7G1, COVID-19 discussion and closure of City Hall to public facing business. I'll add the Mark gave a report on our COVID situation in the fire department, in City Hall and Public Works. We've had one employee that tested positive for COVID-19. Fortunately, that employee had very limited contacts. The contacts that he did fell within our protocols of distancing, masking, and time of association. That employee was off for 2 weeks and got clearance to return to work today. There have been no other positive symptoms of anybody in City Hall that's had any COVID-19 related symptoms. We do have one employee though that's out and out, being tested and waiting those test results. So we're doing all that we can in terms of isolating staff, working remotely, and doing those things to limit our exposure to anybody that comes in contact with this. Moving on to the next part of this request, we've seen that COVID positive confirmations in Anoka County have risen from 238 cases on October 15th to 1,042 cases as of November 11th, 2020. As a result, cities in the North Metro have been closing to public-facing business. The cities of Spring Lake Park, Blaine, Oak Grove, St. Francis, Linwood Township have closed their city halls to full access for day-to-day activities. The cities of Isani and Cambridge have also enacted closure of their facilities for public business. Based on the rapid rise in COVID cases and the consequential increased probability for exposure and infection, staff is requesting that council consider closing City Hall to public-facing business. This action will support the objective of uninterrupted city services. Should this be approved, the city would follow the same protocol as used during the closure of March 18th through June 8th, 2020, and include but be not limited to the following. City Hall operations. City Hall will be staffed with only those necessary to maintain communications, building department services, and coordination of daily function. Some staff working remotely will come in during off hours or have limited hours at City Hall. As much as possible, there will be a physical separation of city staff to reduce exposure to our employees and help ensure our succession plan is not affected by an illness that could be transmitted to the successors for administration, finance, public works, fire, planning, and building inspections. This separation would include working remotely where possible and offsetting of staff performing daily field duties to satellite locations. Due to the small size of our staff, there will be times when total separation cannot be avoided. Public access to City Hall and city services will be by telephone and email. Any items that cannot be addressed by these means would need to be done by appointment. Drop-in and walk-up visitations would be instructed to contact the appropriate city department for assistance or appointments. Building inspection will proceed with the following conditions. Internal building inspections will continue with confirmation needed by the building department that all persons in the home that will come in contact with the inspector are not ill, do not have, or are not quarantined for COVID or COVID exposure, are masked and social distance. Any non-compliance with these conditions would result in the inspection being postponed until such time that the safety of the inspector is provided on the site or in which the inspection is scheduled. External building, new construction, and commercial inspection would continue as normal as long as mask and social distancing at the site are observed. City services. There will be no reduction in critical city services, which include, but are not limited to, protection of life and property, public water treatment and distribution, sewage collection and treatment, and associated activities necessary for these operations. Snow removal and maintenance of city streets, building permit issuance and inspection services, accounts payable and payroll, and code enforcement relating to life, public health, and safety issues. Other services would be continued to be delivered as staffing levels permit. All efforts will be made to respond to all requests in a timely manner, but some may be delayed should staff availability be limited due to COVID quarantines or illness. Public facility use. All activities at city-owned facilities that do not meet the requirements of any executive order by the governor of the state of Minnesota, the Minnesota Department of Health COVID-19 guidelines, gathering size, social distancing, and or masking requirements will be suspended until further notice. City meetings. City council meetings would continue virtually. Invites to the meetings will be limited to public hearing comments and those that have agenda items before council. Virtual public forum appearances can be arranged by request. Meetings can be viewed live on cable channel 10 or YouTube. The EDA, Planning and Parks Commission meetings will continue to be held in the virtual format. Unless there are essential actions needed, these meetings may be postponed. please check the city website for schedule updates or cancellation. City parks. All city parks and trails will remain open to the public with observation of social distancing standards and masking where required. Park pavilions will not be available for rental during the period of the proposed closure. At this time, staff recommends that City Council close City Hall to public-facing business effective beginning the week of November 30th, 2020, and that this closure remains in place until such time as council deems conditions appropriate to reinstate face-to-face business at City Hall.
Okay, is there a motion on tonight's subject?
I'll make a motion to close City Hall to public-facing business effective November 30th, 2020, and that the closure remain in place until such time as City Council deems conditions appropriate to reinstate face-to-face business at City Hall.
Second,
Motion made second, discussion.
So I'm a little concerned about this, and first, my question is, how many of our staff have had COVID? I know since this whole thing started, because I know you said some people have had it and they've taken the leave for it. So can you answer that question first?
Yeah, there have been several people that have taken the leave, Suzanne, but all those were because they were exposed. We've only had one City Hall staff member that contracted COVID-19. And as Mark reported, there are 3 firefighters that have had it, 2 of which have returned to work. The rest of the quarantine cases have just been exposures, and those people were quarantined as a safeguard in case that they had contacted COVID-19 so as not to spread it to other employees.
And how many people are physically working up there all the time now? Because I know it seems to me that some of them are still working from home, and it's not that big of a staff, from what I'm thinking. But I might be wrong.
We currently have 5 people in some manner working remotely from home. One of those permanently works from home. That position is the one that is most accommodating to that type of situation. 4 other staff members are working at home and have some limited staff hours in the office.
And how many are working every day up there?
That would be basically 4 staff members are here. 4 staff members are here every day and 1 temp.
So with that few of people, do you really think we need to close it? Just because there's the plexiglass, everybody comes in there, they're wearing some kind of a mask. There's all this social distancing. The governor has only ordered that restaurants, bars, and gyms be closed, not everything. I mean, salons are open and all these other things are still open.
Suzanne, it will only take 1 infection here to wipe out half the staff. We'll have to quarantine at home. That'll reduce our effectiveness and probably affect our delivery of some of these critical and essential services. I think this is a means to ensure that we're able to continue with those things: fire, police, road maintenance, building inspections, and coordination of the day-to-day activities that ensure our residents are going to be served by what they need at City Hall.
Perfect. Okay, that's all my concerns. Thank you.
Jack? Jack, question. Did the discussion include the cities that are closed? It sounded like everybody under the sun.
I mentioned those that were closed. I'm not sure I follow what your question is, Tom.
Oh, I'm just curious. It sounded like it was almost everybody except us.
The only one that we're aware of around our neighbors is Ham Lake is still open, but they're considering closing also.
Thank you.
Hey, any other discussion? Hey, Mr. Nelson, you take roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Ronan,
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel,
Hi.
Mayor Voss.
Aye. and that motion passes. December work meeting.
Thank you, Steve. Our monthly work meeting is scheduled for December the 7th, 2020 at 7 p.m. Items recommended for council discussion and review could include, but may not be limited to the following: online burning permits, the Bethel Haunted Trails Park, the East Bethel Ice Arena Management Contract, the Mid-Continent East Bethel Cable Franchise Agreement, and the Central Avenue Street Lighting Request, or any other items as requested by council. Staff recommends that council set the topics listed above for the December 2020 work meeting agenda.
Is there a motion on this tonight?
Move to include the discussed topics for the December work meeting.
Is there a second?
Whoops, second.
Okay, motion made and second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Nelson, can you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Ronnie,
Aye.
Councilmember Plassance,
Aye.
Councilmember
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye. That motion passes. On the staff report, Jack.
I have nothing further to add, Steve.
Okay, council reports, Tim.
I got a couple things. We had an Upper Rum River meeting last week. It was just general paying bills, approving our insurance for next year. And I just want to wish everybody happy, safe, and healthy Thanksgiving.
Thanks. Randy.
I will second that motion about Thanksgiving and staying safe from Jim. So I have nothing else other than that. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Suzanne.
Okay, I'm gonna bring up, talk about the meeting last time about us not having all the information that I feel like we should have. And I guess there's nothing we can do about it right now, but I'm just wondering if we can rectify that some kind of way.
Suzanne, what we approved was the preliminary plat. The final plat will come before council as the final in this. I would like to answer your question too about the comment made during the planning commission and during the council meeting. It was a little bit different discussion when I asked about a question about an issue directed toward Whispering Aspens. And I said it was a closed session item. There is still a closed session item that we need to resolve. In terms of the financial standing of the BDM construction with the city, it is, as I stated, it's in good financial shape and they owe us nothing at this time.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, Tom.
I would like to echo everybody's comments about happy Thanksgiving and eat too much. And Steve, from what your comments before the meeting, you watched the open water ice over and then in so many hours go away. But that's an example of how treacherous this ice could be. Please be careful out there, people.
All right. Jack, I got a question with the new shutdown, a partial shutdown by the state. I assume activities at the ice arena have come to a halt.
That's correct. They're under that same December 18th. It'll be reevaluated then. So there will be no activities at the ice arena for the next, it was 30-day shutdown related to youth recreational sports.
Okay. At some point, we should probably look at how that is going to affect us from a revenue standpoint, because it's the heart of the hockey season in terms of using an ice arena. So maybe mid-December have that discussion. So.
That will be part of our discussion too on the work meeting on
Okay.
December the 2nd.
Okay. And that's all I have, except for, again, wishing everyone in whatever form of Thanksgiving you're gonna have this year, that you have a good and safe Thanksgiving. So with that, Mr. Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the benefit of the public and the record, the City Council of the City of East Bethel will now vote to close the council meeting pursuant to Minnesota Statutes Section 13D.05 Subdivision 3B for the purpose of attorney-client privilege. Subject the council will discuss in closed session regards threatened litigation by a former employee. The council will communicate with its counsel regarding the threatened litigation, which requires confidentiality. For the reasons stated, Mr. Mayor, a motion may be made to go into closed session pursuant to Minnesota Statutes Section 13.05 Subdivision 3B. Following the conclusion of the closed session, I should add, the council will come back into regular session and address any remaining items and adjourn the meeting.
Okay, with that, is there a motion to go to closed session?
I'll make a motion to go to a closed session for attorney-client privilege.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any discussion? Mr. Nelson, could you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Ronnie,
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel,
Hi.
Mayor Voss.
Aye, and that motion passes.
Now, Mr. Mayor and council members, I should note that it'll take the city administrator a couple minutes logistically to set this up. So if we could go for about a 5-minute break, then come back to do the closed session.
Okay. We will do that.
Do we need to log out or just stay on here?
Just
You
stay
can-
on. and mute.
Okay. Thank-
Don't bother me.
Me neither. Chris, you been staying busy? A lot more than you want.
As soon as everybody's back on, we're ready to go.
What do you have to do? Is this a matter of turning the recording off and on?
Yes.
Okay, well, that sounds simple. But to start with, we were logging off and then coming back and looked like the same format.
Well, I think we may have lost Suzanne, so we'll continue. Mr. Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the benefit of the public and the record, the City Council of the City of East Bethel has concluded a closed session of the City Council that was closed pursuant to Minnesota Statutes Section 13D.05 Subdivision 3B for the purpose of attorney-client privilege. With that, Mr. Mayor, the regular meeting may now resume.
Is there a motion to adjourn tonight?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made in second. Mr. Nelson, could you take roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Ronning,
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel, Mayor Voss.
Hi. Sorry, I minimized instead of.
That motion passes. Our meeting's adjourned. Everyone have a good evening.
And happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.